among people of Peru towards India. The two countries inherited civilizational wisdom that influenced thoughts, articulations, and works in different fields. It is inspiring to see growing interest in yoga, meditation, and Ayurveda. More and more people in Peru and Bolivia are making yoga and meditation part of their lives. Over 100,000 people witnessed online a 2-day yoga marathon held by us in June on the occasion of 6th International Day of Yoga, with participation of yoga schools and experts from various parts of Peru and Bolivia. Medical professionals are our partners in holding workshops and conferences on Ayurveda and traditional systems of medicine. Poetic traditions of India and Peru are rich and diverse. We notice from available sources that poets and literary luminaries of India and Peru were often influenced by each other. The influence of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore was seen among writers and poets in Peru. One could imagine the cancellation of his visit to Peru planned in 1934 as a guest of honor at an anniversary event represented a missed opportunity to add an important chapter to India-Peru literary history. I also read that Gurudev was inspired by the Peruvian art and poetry, especially of Vallejo. Love for Gurudev Tagore is evident from the school named after him in Lima and a statue in a public area nearby. Exchanges between poets and literary scholars have been taking place, but less frequently, as mentioned in the beginning by Dr. Dibya Jyoti. Peruvian poet Dr. Carlos Bay participated in the Valmiki Poetry Festival in 1985. Indian linguist Professor Thakur Das taught at the Center for Oriental Studies, Catholic University of Peru, PUCP. A group of writers, poets, and intellectuals from India visited Peru in October 2013 and held joint events with their Peruvian counterparts at various institutions, including the Casa de la Literatura Peruana. Today's event is a welcome addition in promoting mutual understanding, and the organizers deserve deep appreciation. I wish to make a suggestion to continue this collaboration and plan events in coming 2 years when Peru celebrates its bicentennial of independence next year and India celebrating 75 years of independence in 2022. With these words, I wish to conclude by thanking Director Mukhopadhyay for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your encouraging speech. Surely we will plan for the next 2 years, and I promise you that we wholeheartedly we will organize events, continuous events with our with the help of our poets and writers, not only from Bengal or all over India. We will do it. Surely. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias, embajador. Ahora yo le invito al embajador Carlos Rafael Polo para hablar. Embajador Carlos.
His Excellency, my dear friend, Mr. Mandarapu Subarayudu, Ambassador of India to Peru, appreciate Professor Dibya Jyoti Mukhopadhyay, distinguished Peruvians and Indian poets and writers who are with us today, dear friends. It's a great honor for me to have been invited for this first of its class event organized by initiative of our dear friend, Professor Dibya Jyoti, one of the most important promoters of the learning of the Spanish language and Latin American culture in India. Thank you very much, Professor Dibiayoti, for helping both of our countries become even closer together with this kind of exchanges. Your valuable efforts is in line with our aim to bring Peru closer to India, using the digital tools that have become more prevalent during, especially these times of COVID pandemic. In these trying times of social isolation, literature has become an escape and solace for many, or a lot of us. This is an opportunity for both of our countries to explore each other's masterpieces and traditions. We have amazing stories and poems coming from both sides of the world, as we will see that today. Speaking for the Peruvian representatives who are present here, we have a healthy mixture of two generations of poets and many different styles which add richness to this exchange. This goes to show that Peru keeps producing literature today, following the footsteps of beloved and great figures like that was mentioned, Cesar Vallejo or Martín Adán, just for mention two of our main poets and writers. We can clearly see this as we have with us today poets and writers with exceedingly high distinctions. From Peru, we are joined by Dr. Marco Martos Carrera, who is currently president of the Academia Peruana de la Lengua, Academic Peruana de la Lengua, the prime cultural institution that joins writers, poets, linguists, and scientists for the use of the Spanish language in Peru. In addition, early this year, Dr. Martos was awarded with the title of Meritorious Figure of Culture by our Minister of Culture. He also teaches at the National University of San Marcos, one of our most reputed centers of higher education. As you can see, Dr. Martos is one of our best poets and writer in Peru, and he's been very well known abroad also for his rich and valuable literature work. It's an honor to have with us Dr. Martos tonight, or in this morning in Lima. We are also honored to be joined by Mr. Carlos Garayar de Lilo, a renowned literature critic, literature buff, a poet. His alma mater is also the University of San Marcos. He has published the novel El cielo sobre nosotros, and a book, Una noche, un sueño. His ample knowledge has led him to be jury of several selective literature awards. We are also joined by Mr. Helbert Chavez, a linguist, philosopher, and anthropologist, who has specialized in ingenious people of the Amazon philosophy of language and linguistic theory. Last but not least, among the newest voices in Peru literature, we also have Mr. Fernando Cuya, Lima born, writer, but first and foremost a poet. He published his first anthology, Poemas de Oficina, in 2013. He is now a member of what is being called the generation of the 2000s, of the millenniums. As Mr. Martos and other distinguished academic I have mentioned, his alma mater for literature is also the prestigious National University of San Marcos. As you could see, Dr. Dibiayoti has brought together today a wonderful collective of Peruvian writers and thinkers, and I am certain that the Indian side will be equally stellar quality. I am looking forward to hearing the words of this fine gentleman and to the exchange of culture that will happen soon. If you may add a short reflection to wrap up my presentation, especially directed toward the India audience, Peru, as India, is one of the cradle of civilization, and as such has a vast culture wealth much further beyond the Incas and Machu Picchu. That makes us one of the richest countries in all forms of the creative arts and methods. Not only do we have some of the biggest exponents of literature in the Americas and modestly, I dare say, in the world, but we also have some of the cherished gastronomy, a byproduct of our mixed indigenous and foreign heritage, exemplary music and craft, and many other things that make us unique. I invite all of you, whether you are learning or are now teaching Spanish, to open your mind to a different culture in its symbols and its richness. I do hope that this engagement between our two countries, a long engagement that we have between Peru and India, shall continue beyond this webinar, and has been the case with other initiatives that have taken place during the pandemic, as my distinguished ambassador of India has already said. Thank you once again for your valuable initiative, Professor Divyajyoti. Thanks also to my distinguished fellow citizen for being here with us today, and of course, you all, our Indian friends. Thanks for your time and your kind attention hearing me. And now, let's enjoy our great guest poets. Thank you so much.
Gracias, embajador. Thank you very much, ambassador, for your encouraging speech. Hope we will do a lot of things together. And for this event, I would request both the ambassadors to send a note to us. So in the book that we will publish, we can put them in record. So in future, whoever comes to these countries must know that this on 22nd of November, the new journey started. Now, I would first introduce you, voy a presentar el poeta de la India, the poet, whose name is Shubodh Sarkar. He is the president of the Kavita Academy, el presidente de la Academia de Poesía de aquí, y es uno de los nombres actuales del mundo poesía. Shubodh, I leave you to speak first, and then each poem, you read one poem, then the translation will be read, and then you come back to the next poet. Shubodh.
Good evening to all of you. And this is a moment that possibly the meet of Peruvian writers and Indian writers coming together. This is the kind of virtual meet, but at the same time it is going to make history. So first, before I begin, I would like to thank and deeply appreciate the presence of two ambassadors for a virtual poets meet. The Peruvian ambassador in India, Your Majesty, I feel grateful to you, and the Indian ambassador in Peru, to both of you, the poets of India and the listeners and the viewers, all of us are really, really feeling excited that your presence is going to make this evening memorable, because sometimes the poets try to manage to have one ambassador, but they cannot have a couple of ambassadors at one single poet's meet. But this is really interesting for me to take a note of this. Thank you again. Thank you again. And now I must appreciate Professor Dibbojyoti Mukhopadhyay, the man behind spreading the knowledge of Spanish language in India. He has been working hard with his students, and some of the students are present tonight. They will be reading the translations as we have been told. They are going to read the translations of the poems which are going to be read here. And I must thank Dibbojyoti again for organizing this historical, though digitally done, but still I believe that this is really a part of the history of the togetherness which was rather initiated by Gurudev Rabindranath Thakur, known as Jagar all over the world. So I believe that this is a great moment, and I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to read my poems. And before I read my poems, I must thank I'm very happy to be on this panel with the poets I personally know. Like for example, the Indian poets, Sharmila is here, Tanmay is here, Shudeep is here, and 4 Peruvian poets, those who will be reading in Spanish, I think, but I hope that their English translations will give us at least some glimpses of the contemporary Peruvian poetry in Latin America. Shall I begin, Dibbojyoti? Shall
Yes.
I read my poem in,
Yes.
shall I read first in English translation?
Yes, you read the
And
one
it will
English.
be, and I
and
hope
the-
that it will be followed by
Spanish.
Spanish translation.
Yes.
The first poem that I would like to read, I have recently written this poem, and it was a moment of agony and anguish when I was writing this poem. This poem is dedicated to Sarah Gilbert, you know, who is already known all over the world for her team at Oxford has been trying hard to finalize the vaccine. So this is something very great for humanity. So I have dedicated this poem to Sarah Gilbert, and the poem is called For You, Sarah Gilbert. The sky suffered all toxins. The earth drank of all sins. Forest, a witness of all killings. Yet, man has no exit to open. Still man is alive for man, away from his deadly weapon.
Okay.
Jealousy has ruined you and me. Greed leads to greedier secretion. Take away the land, encroach the soil. The dish of rice is axed into 2. The earth could have been more beautiful had the weapon of power been banned. Should we throw back all cursed missiles? Each home would have been heaven. The lost world you and I lost has not totally been ruined. We don't want to miss dewdrops. We can cure all abandoned homes. You are my mother, mother of all. You are the younger sister, a healing heart. You stay awake and rub all sobs. You never split a man from a man. 2 eyes of the world of ache. Oh, my darling sister, a healing heart, a universal nurse for all who ail us all. You never split a man from a human.
Para ti, Sarah Gilbert, el cielo sufrió todas las toxinas. La tierra se bebió todos los pecados. Bosque, testigo de todos los asesinatos. Sin embargo, el hombre no tiene salida que abrir. Aún así, el hombre está vivo para el hombre, lejos de sus armas mortales. No me preocuparía si pudiéramos amar un poco más a los humanos. Los celos nos han arruinado a ti y a mí. La codicia conduce a una secreción más codiciosa. Quita la tierra, invade la tierra. El plato de arroz se corta en dos. La tierra podría haber sido más hermosa si el arma del poder hubiera sido prohibida. ¿Deberíamos devolver todos los misiles malditos? Cada hogar habría sido el paraíso. El mundo perdido que tú y yo perdimos no se ha arruinado totalmente. No queremos perdernos las gotas de rocío. Podemos curar todas las casas abandonadas. Tú eres mi madre, madre de todo. Eres la hermana menor, una hierba curativa. Te quedas despierto y frotas todos los sollozos. Nunca separas a un hombre de un hombre. Los ojos del mundo están despiertos. Oh, mi querida hermana, hierba curativa, una enfermera universal para todos los que nos aquejan. Nunca separas a un hombre de un humano.
In English it is called bribe, and in Bengali it is called ghush. It's a typically Bengali Indian poem. So I just speak a few words before I read out this poem. This is the poem I wrote 28 years ago, and it was about my school teacher who committed suicide. Why he committed suicide, that is written down in the poem. I'm not going to tell you. But one thing I would like to tell you, why it is so Bengali, so Indian, because of the fact that he is a different kind of teacher. A teacher who had that great ethical values, which we have lost now. Everybody hasn't lost, but most of us have lost all over the world. But the title of the poem is international, that is bright, that goes on everywhere in the world. So now the poem is called, again I am telling you the name, the title of the poem, Bride. A suicide note under the 9th volume of Rabindra Rachanavali, written to his son. Then with a blade in his hand, my teacher had entered the washroom. In the afternoon, the maid saw a streak of blood from under the door, and she screamed out. This is the first and last letter written to his son. Aruni, I have a conviction that the sun is as holy as water. My relation with you is not smooth. Still, let me write this to you. Since the last 2 years, whatever little had I saved is spent up now. for your mother's treatment. I was not able to bear the burden of the treatment anymore. I never ever touched your money in my life. I owned even in my death. I taught students all my life, never did anything wrong knowingly. Last month, a parent came to my school, desperate to admit his son. I refused the first day, I refused the second, but I couldn't on the third. In a fat envelope, he left with me 30,000 rupees. With that money, your mother's treatment is on his mind. No hope whether she will ever return home. If she does, tell her that I have lost the right to live in this world. Yours ever, Baba. When the whole country is cashing on bribes, then just one suicide note under the Rabindra Rachanavali. In the hospital under the tree, I was having a chill down my spine. I went forward to my sir, covered with all white cloth. Towards two lone feet sticking out from under cover. Those two uncovered feet, as it were the last feet of India.
Soborno. Una nota de suicidio bajo el 9º volumen de Rabindra Rachanavali, escrito a su hijo. Luego, con una espada en la mano, mi maestra había entrado al baño. Por la tarde, la criada vio un rastro de sangre desde debajo de la puerta y ella gritó: esta es la primera y última carta que le escribe a su hijo. Oroni, tengo la convicción de que un hijo es tan santo como el agua. Mi relación contigo no es fluida. Aún así, déjame escribirte esto. Desde los últimos 2 años, lo poco que había ahorrado está agotado ahora por el tratamiento de tu madre. Ya no pude soportar la carga del tratamiento. Nunca toqué tu dinero en mi vida, ni siquiera lo haré en mi muerte. Enseñé a los estudiantes toda mi vida. Nunca hice nada malo a sabiendas. El mes pasado, un padre vino a mi escuela, desesperado por admitir a su hijo. Me negué el primer día, rechacé el segundo, pero no pude en el tercero. En un sobre grueso me dejó 30,000 rupias. Con ese dinero, el tratamiento de su madre comienza este mes. No hay esperanza de que alguna vez regrese a casa. Si lo hace, dígale que he perdido el derecho a vivir en este mundo. Siempre tuyo, Baba. Cuando todo el país está cobrando sobornos, entonces, ¿solo una nota de suicidio bajo el Rabindra Rachanavali? En el hospital, debajo del árbol, tenía un escalofrío por la columna. Me acerqué a mi señor, cubierto con toda tela blanca. Hacía 2 pies solitarios, sobresaliendo de debajo de la cubierta. Esos 2 pies descubiertos, por así decirlo, eran los últimos pies de la India.
Mourning and honeymoon. Mourning, there is condolence. morning and honeymoon. Just let me, yes. It will sound bad, yet let me say, morning and honeymoon, neither is long laid. My wife has left me 6 months ago. The poem was written, 8 years ago, 9 years ago when I lost my wife. My son still tosses while sleeping. He doesn't hold my chest anymore. He is now 21. If you scan his head, you will get Kafka and Nietzsche. Yet, I hold him tight in my bosom and remain awake throughout the night. He wants to be free and says, I want to sleep on Red Road. We had a common syndrome. We, the father and the son, have lost a river. We are unable to find a home. The room we knew as kitchen is now a drop of tear. Papers that we thought as rubbish, a life insurance, that the plumber is the younger brother of God. After we contact his number, we realize the life is stagnant without him. We, father and son, went to the forest with the golden axe. We left the apple never returns gold. Hospitals fix iron rods in all the 9 holes of human body and tie a pot around the neck. That is the loan. We must, with the head down, don't ask for a loan as a way to happiness. Thank you all.
Luto y luna de miel. Sonará mal, pero déjame decirte, luto y luna de miel, ninguno es longevo. Mi esposa me dejó hace 6 meses. Mi hijo todavía da vueltas mientras duerme. Ya no me sostiene el pecho. Ahora tiene 21 años. Si escaneas su cabeza, obtendrás a Kafka y Nietzsche. Sin embargo, lo abrazo con fuerza en mi pecho y permanecer despierto toda la noche. Quiere ser libre y dice, quiero dormir en Red Road. Tenemos un síndrome común. Nosotros, el padre y el hijo, hemos perdido un río. No podemos encontrar un hogar. La habitación que conocíamos como cocina es ahora una gota de lágrima. Papeles que pensamos como basura son seguros de vida. Y el fontanero es el hermano menor de Dios. Después de contactarnos con su número, nos dimos cuenta de la vida está estancado sin él. Nosotros, padre e hijo, fuimos al bosque con un hacha de oro. Dejamos el hacha en un hospital. Por error, el hospital nunca devuelve oro. Los hospitales fijan barras de hierro en los 9 hoyos y atar una olla al cuello. Eso es un préstamo. Debemos pagar con la cabeza gacha. Vi un letrero en un puesto de té. No pidas un préstamo como forma de felicidad.
Ahora invito a Marco Martos Carrera de Perú. An ambassador has already given the introduction. El embajador ha presentado a usted. Marco.
Muchas gracias por esta invitación que para un peruano es insólita. Jamás pensé leer poemas ante un público de la India, no importa que por vía virtual. Muchísimas gracias, amigos, por estar aquí en esta mañana de Perú y noche en la India. Estos dos primeros poemas pertenecen a un libro que se llama Caligrafía China y están escritos con la sensibilidad de un poeta chino, o lo que yo creo que es esa sensibilidad. Tinieblas de abril. Veo partir a los gansos salvajes hacia el sur y se me acongoja el corazón, pues son la estela que anuncia tu viaje, el pálpito y el vaticinio de que no volverás. Donde quiera que estés serás inaccesible, apenas te llegará mi voz como un eco del susurro de una flor. Tal vez mire a los gansos en otra estación y una lágrima tuya pugne en mi ojo, ansiosa por salir. Tal vez solo escuche el rumor del viento y el aleteo de las lechuzas dando vueltas alrededor del blanco campanario en las tinieblas de abril.
April darkness. I watch the wild geese go south, and my heart breaks down, because they are the wake that announces your trip, the hutch and the prediction that you will not return. Wherever you are, you will be inaccessible. My voice will hardly reach you, like an echo of the whisper of a flower. Maybe I will watch the geese in the another station and a tear from you. Struggle in my eye, eager to get out. Maybe just listen to the rumble of the wind and the flapping of owls circling around the white bell tower in the darkness of April.
Este segundo poema se llama El viento de los años. Este palacio colmado de doncellas que hablan como ángeles en el crepúsculo del verano, este jardín donde susurra el arroyo y los pájaros sueñan entre brumas, estos fríos que vienen con las lluvias del otoño, estos árboles de canela, estos pinos, estas garzas que como damas descansan durante el invierno en los dormitorios, todo se lo llevará el viento de los años, ruina será y perdices grises deambulando entre las sombras.
My second presentation is The Wind of the Years. This palace full of maidens who speak like angels in the summer twilight. This garden where the stream whispers and the birds dream. This mist that's clouds that came with the autumn rains. These circumstances, these pines, these herons that like ladies rest. During the winter in the bedrooms, everything will be carried away by the wind of the years. Ruin will be grey, partridges wandering in the shadow.
Apartado lugar. Este poema pertenece a un nuevo libro que tengo haciendo, que se va a llamar Mar del Sur, que era el nombre de las tierras al sur de Panamá, lo que sería el Perú tiempo más tarde. Y se refiere a la cosecha del arroz que ocurre en el norte de mi país. Apartado lugar. En las tardes corrías por la alfombra verde del arroz. ¿Cómo sabían los pájaros la inmensidad de tu interior? Con los picos buscaban la blanquísima leche o se quedaban quietos dejándote pasar. Ni ellos tenían miedo, ni tú temor. Oro en los cielos y rosa en la azul inmensidad. Cuando llegaba la noche, en esa lóbrega oscuridad, tus amplios vestidos luminosos eran la señal de la continuidad de la vida en este apartado lugar.
Secluded place. In the afternoons, you ran on the green rice carpet. How did the birds know the immensity of your interior? With their beaks, they looked for the white milk, or they stood still, letting you pass. They were not afraid, nor were you afraid. gold in the heavens and the pink in the first blue. When night came in that murky darkness, your white luminous dresses were the signal of the continuity of life in that secluded place.
Now, we will present one of another poet who is an important in today's modern literature, Sharmila Roy. She is a professor of history. Sharmila es una profesora de historia en la Universidad de Calcuta, en un colegio, in a college under Calcutta University, University of Kolkata. Sharmila.
Let me thank Indo Hispanic Language Academy, Dr. Dibojyoti Mukhopadhyay, all the poets from Peru, India, and also the ambassadors. It's such a lovely evening, and I think that, the pandemic has made this thing possible, that we could come together with words, with love. So my poems are dedicated to words and love, which joins us this evening. So my first poem is called The Dry Shadows of March. The dry shadows of March have history inside it. God has disappeared down empty streets and shuttered shops. The whole city is a zigzag of grey and more grey, and sometimes a filigree of yellow superimposes on the pattern. Now the neem talks to the banyan, ripping apart its petrol-smeared gag, and the birds have a field day. But it seems such a pity that the real world is virtual, crisp, indefinite, under some fairy moon-cold spell. From childhood, we have heard about the 7 wonders of the world, all man-made. Like me, many others have added rockets to their list. By risking everything, we have forgotten that the stars do not belong to us. The universe penetrates and burns, and we are just fleshy dollops sliding and slipping on Earth's skin. Thank you.
Las secas sombras de marzo. Las secas sombras de marzo tienen historia en su interior. Dios ha desaparecido por calles vacías y tiendas cerradas. Toda la ciudad es un zigzag gótico de gris y más gris. Y a veces una filigrana de amarillo se superpone al patrón. Ahora, bien, destrozando. Pero parece una pena que el mundo real sea virtual, nítido y definido, bajo el hechizo del frío de agua. Ada. Desde la infancia hemos oído hablar de las 7 maravillosas del mundo, todo hecho por el hombre como yo. Muchos otros han añadido cohetes a su lista. Al arriesgarlo, todos hemos olvidado que las estrellas no nos pertenecen. El universario penetra y arde. Somos solo cucharadas de carne, deslizando y resbalando sobre la piel de la tierra.
My second poem is called Alphabet. It's about words, which is all connecting all of us. Alphabets march to enter my heart, but an ancient wind stops them. They get lost, they die, without forming a word. However, in the evening, they return with birds, with kites, colored alphabets, sitting arrogantly On my desk, deriding me, alphabet, mist of my armpit, alphabet, the cotton stretched over my breast, alphabet, the invisible horizon. I am swept. In the sense space of my thought, alphabets grow again on their own, as do the fern, much like the nail on your finger. Alphabet, mother of words, alphabet, word forest, and if we do lose ourselves in the forest, it is exactly then that we find our voice.
Alfabetos, los alfabetos marchan para entrar en mi corazón, pero un viento antiguo los detiene. Se perdieron sin formar una palabra. Sin embargo, por la noche regresan con cometas, con pájaros, alfabetos de colores, sentado arrogantemente en mi escritorio, ridiculizándome. Alfabetos de niebla de mis axilas, alfabetos, el algodón estirado sobre mis pechos, alfabetos, el horizonte invisible. Estoy barrido. En el espacio sensorial de mi pensamiento, los alfabetos vuelven a crecer por sí mismos, al igual que los helechos muy parecidos a la uña de tu dedo. Alfabetos, madre de palabras, alfabetos para bosque. Nos perdemos en el bosque, es exactamente entonces que encontremos nuestra voz.
This poem is about love. Love, I mean the love between human beings, which we are losing every day. So it is called a dialogue with anyone. It could be God above, it could be your friend, it could be your lover, anyone. Let us talk softly, you and me, alone, all alone, before the sky breaks into light, before the dew evaporates. I will show you how to hear the landscape song, the greenness of each day that goes deep, sets off the light that waits to be born by remaining still, vibrating with love. Let us sit quietly, you and me, all alone, alone, all alone. I will show you how to see pictures beneath chaos, to taste pain which is sour sweet, your feet held by the power of Shakti, drowning in oneness by remaining calm, projecting love. Let us walk together, you and me, alone, all alone, and I will show you how to become the earth where all colors mix, where space and time cross, seeds through half-closed stars, and you know how to love. Thank you everyone for this lovely evening.
Silenciosamente, suavemente, hablemos en voz baja tú y yo, solo, completamente solo, antes de que el cielo salga a la luz, antes de que el rocío se evapore. Te mostraré cómo escuchar la canción del paisaje, el verdor de cada día que se hunde, enciende la luz que espera ser tocada, permaneciendo todavía vibrando de amor. Déjanos sentarnos en silencio, tú, solo, solo, completamente solo. Te mostraré cómo ver imágenes debajo del caos, para saborear del color agridulce tus pies sostenidos por el poder de Shakti, ahogándose en la unidad mantenido la calma proyectando amor. Caminemos juntos, tú y yo, solo, todo solo, y te mostraré cómo convertirle, donde todos los colores se mezclan, donde el espacio y el tiempo se cruzan, tamisado a través de estrellas, medidos cerradas, ya sabes cómo amar.
Now, I invite my friend Fernando Cuilla, with whom I have a friends for a long time, and we decided to come up with this project. Fernando.
Muchas gracias a todos por su presencia, gracias a los organizadores, un saludo muy especial para los dos embajadores, a los poetas peruanos que nos están acompañando, a los poetas de la India y un saludo a todo el público en general que nos está viendo en este momento. El primer poema que les voy a leer es un poema muy breve y pertenece al primer libro que publiqué, que se llama Poemas de Oficina. En realidad creo que todo es poetizable, es decir, que la poesía está en todo lugar, en los lugares menos pensados, y así nació este libro, en una oficina de trabajo. Un día estaba jugando con la computadora, con las teclas de la computadora, y nació este poema, que es el poema número 9, que dice así: aprieta enter, otra vez enter, dale enter, 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 y entra en mi vida. El segundo poema es un libro que ya pertenece, es un poema que pertenece a otro libro que se llama Palabras lejanas. Habla de aquellos amores de juventud que, bueno, nacieron en la universidad. Y bueno, este poema también está basado en una canción de Alberto Plaza, el cantante chileno, que la canción se llama Yo te seguiré, y también nació cuando leía el libro La voz a ti de vida del poeta español Pedro Salinas. Este poema se llama No pidas más y dice así: yo no puedo darte más que lo que tengo, no soy más que lo que ves. Cómo quisiera darte más, mucho más, darte la alegría que eres tú y darte esa alegría que no soy yo. Cómo quisiera hablar con tu silencio y decirte lo mucho que te amo, mirar al mundo como lo miras cada día al despertar y vivir la vida con la vida que das tú. Cómo quisiera darte todo, todo de mí, pero yo soy así, lleno de defectos y virtudes voy, buscando esa alegría que no soy yo. Yo quisiera darte más que lo que tengo, pero no soy más que lo que ves.
Do not ask for more. I can't give you more than what I have. I am nothing but what you see. How I would like to give you more, much more. Give you the joy that you are, and give you that joy that is not me. How I would like to speak with your silence and tell you how much I love you. Look at the world, how you look at every day when you wake up and live life with the life that you give. How I would like to give you everything, all of me, but I am like this. Full of flaws and virtues, I wander through life, looking for that joy. It is not me. I would like to give you more than what I have, but I am only what you see.
El último poema nació hace poco, en este contexto que estamos viviendo por la pandemia del coronavirus. Hay muchas parejas en el mundo que están distanciadas, al igual que muchas familias, y nació este poema que se llama Amor COVID. Dice así: Te busco en la distancia social que nos impone el virus, en el mundo virtual de las redes sociales, donde puedo ser yo el amor que tanto buscas, en esa realidad que inventas en la pantalla del móvil, de la laptop o de la PC. Lejos del contacto físico, lejos de la cuarentena, de la vacuna, te pienso, te deseo. Ríete de este loco que te quiere, de este torpe corazón que no te olvida, de todas estas palabras que nacieron mías y que ahora son eternamente tuyas. Muchas gracias.
Love COVID. I look for you in the social distance imposed by the virus. In the virtual world of social networks, where can I be? The love that you seek so much in that reality, that you invent on the mobile screen from laptop or PC. Always from physical contact, from quarantine, of the vaccine, I think of you. I wish you. Laugh at this madman who loves you, of this clumsy heart that does not forget you, of all these words that were born mine, and what are they now? Forever yours.
Ahora, now we move to another Indian poet, Tanmay Chakraborty. Ahora presentamos el poeta joven de la India que trabaja en el departamento del gobierno, es columnista y también escribe poemas. So Tanmay is a poet, young poet, who works in one of the government departments, but he is a columnist and also a storyteller. Tanmay.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I am indebted to Indo Hispanic Language Academy and also to the Honorable Ambassadors to give me the opportunity to be here to read poetry along with Sri Shubodh Sarkar, Sahitya Academy Award winner, and the Marcos and Fernando and other poets of India, and my contemporary Sudeep also, and Sharmila Rai. So we know that before I start, I say a few words that though India and Peru were separated in terms of history and geography, but now today they are coming closer together in terms of cultural similarities. And probably in the year 1857, there was one person, Amazonas frigate, who first arrived in the coast of India. And in 1924, Rabindranath Tagore was a person who decided to go to Peru, but he couldn't go there due to his physical illness. And Peru is a country of literature, and they have generated novelists and essayists like Maria Vargas Llosa and poets like Cesar Vallejo. So I am starting my poetry. The first one is the If Somebody. If someday. If someday all roads knock at your door, if all rivers, canals, rivulets turn into a huge drain at your doorstep, if all slogans start shouting in your placid garden, if your mailbox mourns the death of all patients of hospitals, if someone whispers all the market deceits into your ears, if all beggars from the street call out your name, would you still pretend naivety? You have composed beautiful plays, brilliant poems, directed hit films, all and everything in their name, that earned you great fame. Now it's time for your return. Auction yourself.
Si algún día todos los caminos llaman a tu puerta, si todos los ríos son canales, riachuelos se convierten en un enorme desagüe en la puerta de su casa, si todas las consignas comienzan a gritar en tu plácido jardín, si su buzón llora la muerte de todos los pacientes de los hospitales, si alguien te susurra todos los engaños del mercado en tus oídos, Si todos los mendigos de la calle gritan tu nombre, ¿seguirías fingiendo ingenuidad? Has compuesto hermosas obras de teatro, brillantes poemas, dirigido películas de éxito, todo y todo en su nombre. ¿Qué te valió una gran fama? Ahora es el momento de su devolución. Subasta usted mismo.
So many friends have left. So many meaningless protests have withered away. Filthy secrets are draining down into the ears of the most seasoned veterans. Amidst such evil, if death appears suddenly, that itself would be the aesthetic. It's a peculiar time. Theories can be interpreted in both ways. Whichever way one goes, the next comeback always remains promising.
Confusión. Tantos amigos se han ido, tantas protestas sin sentido, se han desvanecido, los secretos asquerosos están llegando a los oídos de los veteranos más experimentados. En medio de tanta maldad, si la muerte aparece, de repente eso en sí mismo sería la estética. Es un momento peculiar. Las teorías se pueden interpretar de ambas formas. Por donde se vaya, el próximo regreso siempre sigue siendo prometedor.
The third one is from piled up insults. Rights are born from the piled up insults. The wretched grows through the experiences and observations. Unknown faces, unadvertised, only exists in the periphery like a dying city. Advertised are the recognized faces. They know no panacea, and their flame of wounds grow to fame.
De insultos apilados. Los derechos nacen de los insultos acumulados. El miserable crece a través de experiencias y observaciones. Rostros desconocidos sin anunciar, solo existe en la periferia. Como una ciudad agonizante, anunciados son los rostros reconocidos. No conocen la panacea y su llama de herida crece a la fama.
Now, ahora invito Carlos Araya de Lilo, de Perú. Carlos.
Buenos días, buenas noches. Muchísimas gracias por permitirme compartir con ustedes este momento de poesía. El primer poema pertenece a una serie del Salmón, por eso se llama El Salmón otra vez. Y ahora, en la hora prevista, regreso a mi nacimiento, al lugar que acogerá mis restos, a la tumba líquida en la que mis escamas relucientes se convertirán en laminillas dispersas y apagadas, en la materia pálida de la que con suerte nacerán otras escamas relucientes. Tanto bregar para acercarme a un lugar que había olvidado. Ni siquiera el sabor dulce de estas aguas suscita en mí un recuerdo. No reconozco ya ningún recodo, piedra o poza, pero una corriente que en el mar no tenía límites y acá se va estrechando, tensa mis últimas fuerzas. Me impongo sobre ella porque de alguna manera sé que aquí me hicieron. De aquí partí a las profundidades. El río es doblemente mi madre. De él saldré también al otro mar. Lo imagino y anhelo su luz inabarcable. Salto para vencer el torrente y acercarme a esa luz. En línea recta, a pesar de tantas curvas. Subiendo para bajar de nuevo. Ni cómo determinar en qué punto la circunferencia se inicia. Qué desdicha moverse para llegar siempre al mismo sitio. Este es mi destino. Me acerco a él exhausto y jubiloso. Pronto fecundaré otros huevos. Otro será yo, yo será otro.
The salmon again. And now, at the scheduled time, I return to my birth, to the place that will host my remains, to the liquid grave, where my gleaming scales will turn to scattered lamellae, and off in the pale matter from which hopefully they will be born other gleaming scales. So much struggle to get closer to a place that I have forgotten. Not even the sweet taste of these waters arouses a memory in me. I no longer recognize any bend, stone or pool, but a current which in the sea had no limits and here is narrowing. Tense my last strength. I impose myself on her because somehow I know that they made me here. From here I went to the depths. The river, she is doubly my mother. From her I will also go out to the other sea. I imagine and I long for its boundless light. Jump to overcome the torrent and get closer to that light. In a straight line, despite so many curves, going up to go down again. Know how to determine at what point the circumference begins. What a misfortune to move to always get to the same place. What happiness too, to always be the same. This is my destiny. I approach him exhausted and jubilant. Soon I will fertilize some eggs. Another will be me. I will be another.
El siguiente poema se titula El moscardón. Revolotea entre las flores. A veces también se queda suspendido sobre las simples hojas, que husmea con igual interés. Sus alas baten infatigables, su ruido interrumpe mi siesta. Adormecido, contemplo su vuelo, el ronroneo que agita el aire en ondas que casi puedo ver. Dicen que es el mensajero del sol, que ilumina los rincones umbrosos. Otros dicen que anuncia la muerte y no quieren verlo. Vete, malagüero, vete. Con tu mensaje lúgubre a otra parte, no quiero nada con la muerte. Pero si es una u otra cosa, él no lo sabe. Vuela sobre las flores, vuela sobre las simples hojas, y sus alas solo agitan el aire.
The blowfly. Flutter among the flowers. Sometimes it also gets suspended on the simple leaves, which noses with equal interest. Its wings beat tirelessly. Its noise interrupts my nap. Asleep, I contemplate its flight. The purr that shakes the air in waves I can almost see. They say that it is the messenger of the sun that illuminates the shady corners. Others say it announces death and they don't want to see it. Go, Malaguero, go with your gloomy message elsewhere. I don't want anything with death. But if it is one or the other, he does not know. Fly over the flowers, fly on the simple leaves, and its wings just flap the air.
Desperté. Desperté y el sueño era tan claro como la luz de esta mañana. Unos minutos después se había ido. No me dejó más que la sombra de las risas, de los paisajes, del movimiento que presumiblemente hubo. Más tarde compuse un poema de memoria. Por un rato paladeé sus sílabas y acentos, el temblor de sus letras invisibles. Y de pronto tampoco estaba. Se marchó sin despedirse, partió tan suavemente como había venido. Cierro los ojos. Es el poema, esta pantalla en blanco, la mejor imagen del alma que nos abandona. Me da miedo la levedad, el aire de que están hechos las palabras y los sueños. No por sonido el aire es menos aire, me resigno, y no encuentro consuelo donde debía encontrar. Muchas gracias.
Woke up, and the dream was as clear as the light this morning. Few minutes later, she was gone, did not let me more than the shadow of laughter, landscapes, movement that presumably there was. Later, I composed a poem from memory. For a while, I savored its syllables and accents, the tremor of its invisible letters. And suddenly, she wasn't there either. She left without saying goodbye. It departed as smoothly as it had come. I closed my eyes. Is the poem, this blank screen, the best picture of the soul that abandons us? I am afraid of the lightness, the air of which they are made, words and dreams. Not by sound is air less air. I resign myself, and I do not find consolation where I should find it. Gracias.
Now I present another poet from Kolkata, from India, Sudeep Bhattacharya, who is by profession and renowned interior designer and also a radio jockey, RJ, and one of the leading poets of our time. Sudeep.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, India. Good morning, Peru. Before I start to read my poems, I just want to give special thanks to Honorable Indian Ambassador Peru and Peruvian Ambassador India, renowned poet Subodh Sarkar sir, you, Mr. Dr. Dibojyoti Mukhopadhyay, poets of Peru and poets of India, Sharmila Di and Tanmoy, and the students of Indo-Hispanic language and the students of Indo-Hispanic Language Academy. I will read two poems. There is my first poem. The name of the poem is The Fearful Last Day. The Bengali name of this poem is Shesher Shedin Bhayankar. Contemporary subject, translated by Anindita Bose. The name of this poem is The Fearful Last Day. That day when they will cut off the last tree, that day when millions of humans will divide and eat the thoughtlessly hanging last fruit, that day when the last fish of the ponds will smile and bid goodbye, that day when for a drop of water another world war will begin, that day when thousands of Tanshin will sing, but rains will deny to fall, that day when the desert of Jaisalmer will merge with the water of Indian Ocean. There will be no snowbed on the Himalayas. Instead of ships and boats straight from Ganga Sagar to Gangotri, railway tracks will be placed on Ganga. And flocks of migratory birds will not come anymore. They will fly away from the mid-sky to infinite. Like the gypsies, they will not build nets here and there. There will be oxygen cylinders in each local stores. Instead of food, the farmer will grow miles after miles life-saving medicines. Schools will only teach religion. Instead of football and cricket, they will play how to begin a war. The little boy, with innocent smile, with innocent eyes, will look the surprise. His two dreamy eyes will say in a sweet voice, I want to live, I want to live. And on that day, there will be no one on this earth to pick up that boy to nature and care.
Ese último día terrible. Ese día en que cortarán del último árbol. Ese día cuando millones de los humanos de dividir y cogerán el colgando sin pensar último fruto. Ese día cuando el último pez de los estanques sonreirán y pujarán a Dios. Ese día cuando por una gota de agua otra guerra mundial será empezar. Ese día cuando miles de Tansen cantará, pero yo se negará caer. Ese día cuando el desierto de Jaisalmer se fusionará con el agua del océano Índico. No habrá cama de nieve en el Himalaya. En lugar de barcos y botes, directamente de Gangasagar a Gangotri, las vías del tren ser colocado en Ganges y bandares a aves migratorias. Ya no vendrá, volvan lejos del medio cielo al infinito, como el gitanos no consumir, nadie anida ahí y allá. Habrá cilindros de oxígeno en cada tienda local, en cambio de alimentos que el agricultor cultivará. Niñas tras niñas dando vida a medicamentos. Las escuelas solo enseñan religión. En lugar de fútbol y cricket, ellos jugarán como comenzar una guerra. Limito con inocentes. Los ojos mirarán con sorpresa. Sus dos ojos soñadores miran con voz dulce. Quiero vivir. Y ese día habrá nadie en esta tierra para elegir levantar a ese chico para nutrir y cuidado.
Thank you, Shangita. My next poem is, the name of this poem is Touching You. The Bengali name of this poem is Chuechi Tomai. It is based on the memory of Rabindranath Tagore. Translation by Rajatabu Mukhopadhyay. The way I have known my country is how I have known you. In my sleep, when I am awake, amidst thousands of people in a parade, or maybe even in the dark corner of a room, in tranquil solitude, with love, sometimes with discipline. The way I have known my mother is how I know you. Just as you dream every day, I have seen you in my dreams. The sky is cloudy, a storm is rising, gusts of wind are blowing suddenly. A dark clouds thin out, and on the clear sky, I see your face. On the cloud on which I see your face, I have seen you in that sky. The raga that tunes my song, I have beheld you in that song. You were walking along the bank of Padda, the river valley full of lush green crop fields. The boatman is waiting on his boat at the ghat. Very slowly you came and boarded the boat. In the distance, someone walks along the aisle towards infinity, the road that Lalun walked. I have seen you in that road. In the dead of the night, the Tanpura starts to play. The unsteady soul of mine plunges into the deep ocean of memories. Images from the past flash by like a movie. Is of our lives are enfolded in a celluloid. Someone sings Tan on a Tanpura while you float away. The Tan that binds the tunes. I have entangled you in those tunes. The orchard where I have touched Bokul, I have seen you there. Through the shady mango grove, you have walked the expanse of civilization. History alone knows the stories of the journey along the endless beloved. The road you have traversed, I have known you on that road. The art that his body has touched, I have known you on the art. You are the heart of creation in this country. Every sad soul shocks you. Your touch transfigures cloudy dusks into moonlight evenings. The soft moonbeam that shocks you silver, I have bathed myself in it. The drizzle that drenched Kopila-Bostu, I have touched you in that rain. Your equity, your revolution, from the farmer's harvest to the mason music, the man you have touched, I have seen you in the man.
Tocándote. La forma en que he conocido a mi país, así es como te he conocido, en mi sueño, cuando estoy despierto entre miles de personas en tu desfile. Tal vez incluso en el rincón oscuro de una habitación, en tranquila soledad, con amor, a veces con disciplina. La forma en que ha conocido a mi madre, así es como te he conocido. Así como soñamos todos los días. Te he visto en mi sueño. El cielo está nublado. Se avecina una tormenta. Soplan ráfagas de viento repentinamente. Las nubes oscuras se diluyan y en el cielo despegado veo tu rostro. En la nube en la que veo tu rostro, te he visto en ese cielo. El raga que afina mi canción, te he compensado en esa canción. Estás caminando por la orilla de Padma, el valle del río lleno y exuberantes campos de cultivo verdes. El barquero está esperando en su bote en el ghat, muy lentamente. Vienes y subes al barco. A la lejos, alguien camina por el hacia el infinito. El camino que Lalo caminó. Te he visto en ese camino. En la oscuridad de la noche, la támpura comienza a soñar. Mi alma insetable sumerge en el profundo océano de los recuerdos. Las imágenes del pasado pasan como una película, como si nuestras vidas estuvieran envueltas en un celuloide. Alguien canta tan y tan pura, mientras nos alejamos flotando en tan que une las melodías. Te he enredado en esas melodías. El huerto donde he tocado bocul, he visto ahí. A través de la sombra de los mangos, has caminado por la extensión de la civilización. Historia sola conoce las historias del viaje por este boulevard sin fin. El camino que has atravesado, te he conocido en ese camino. La tierra que este cuerpo ha tocado, te he conocido en la tierra. Eres el corazón de la creación en este país. Toda alma que te busca, te toque, transfigura sus atardeceres, nublados en noches, iluminados para tu luna. El suave rayo de luna que te empapa de plata. Me he bañado en él, la llovizna que a Capilla Bosú. Te he tocado en esa orilla. Eres acidad, eres revolución. De la cosecha de los agricultores a la música de los albañiles. El hombre que has tocado, he visto en el hombre.
So we end here. The first, I cannot say this is the ending. This is just the first event. I thank from the core of my heart, on behalf of all my colleagues, students, friends, both the ambassadors, Ambassador of India in Peru and Ambassador of Peru in India. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence, and not only presence, you were here from first to last. It is a big thing for, I think, for the young poets and for the students. I thank Marco, Fernando, Carlos, and Enrich, who couldn't be here, y sus presencias hoy con nosotros es a nosotros un honor y de gran placer. Y seguimos en contacto, desarrollamos la relación y trabajamos juntos. And for the Indian poets, Shubodh, Sharmila, Tanmoy, and Shudeep, thank you very much for being with us. Hope in future also we will be doing a lot of things together, because we want our poets, our present generation, to be known to the whole world of Spanish, Hispanic world. So thank you very much. Otra vez, embajador, muchas gracias a ustedes. Thank you very much, ambassadors, for being present with us. We will upload a video in our YouTube channel. I will inform you, and I request you to send a note so that when we publish the book, we can place your note in that, and that because we believe that this moment should be recorded in the history. So in future, anybody want to work with the Indo-Peruvian relationship must know that today, 22nd of November 2020, in the crucial year, we were connected. So the disease, the pandemic couldn't stop us. We are in touch with each other. Muchas gracias.